everybody, welcome to our channel. Today we are picking and harvesting and preserving some beets. You can see behind me here I've got my giant pan here, stock pot. I've got beets in there. They're boiling, not yet, but they will be. We cut the tops of the beets, the greens off, left about 1 inch of greens on top of the beet, and then we boil them in hot water for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, until I can poke them with the fork. It could be even longer than that, depending. And then after those are done, I drain them. I just dump them into the sink like these here. And actually this time I should have saved my water, and I didn't. I just dumped all of us, so we have to like reboil water. But put them in the sink. We've eaten lunch since these have been in the sink, and I'm just going to show you how we are preserving them. This batch we're going to try freezing. I have always canned my beets in the past, but we decided to try freezing some. So we went to Walmart and got this food saver thing here. That we're gonna try to, like vacuum seal the beets and put them in the freezer and see if that helps them to stay fresher for longer. When you can beets, you cook them first so that you can peel them and slice them, and then you put them in the canner, and then they like cook again for like 40 minutes. So they get pretty mushy. So we're gonna try freezing and see how it turns out. And while we've got 2 rows of beets in the garden. If you have not seen our garden tour, make sure you check it out. I'll put a card for that. We've got 2 big rows of beets. This is 1 whole row of beets that we're doing today. Austin is out. I don't know if you'll be able to see him out there. He just pulled the rest of them, and now he's cleaning them with the hose. And they cut all the tops off. We give the tops to the chickens or the goats. Some of them we keep, like we've got a batch here. We just like the stems to eat. We don't necessarily like the leaf, and so we cook some of those up for lunch, and I'm gonna actually I'm gonna cook those and then freeze them also. Okay, so this is 1 whole row of our beets. We're gonna freeze them, and then they're actually gonna replant more beets again so we can get a second batch for like in the fall. We'll be able to harvest those. We still have 1 more row of beets out there, same amount as these, that we will need to get processed, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It may happen next week, but not in the next few days. This will keep us busy for now, unless we get this all done and decide to do it all over again tomorrow. But I'm going to show you how easy these beets peel after you cook them, and then I'm just going to take you through the process of how I'm freezing them and what I'm doing for that. Okay, so the way I do this, I've got cold water running here, and usually I use cold because the beets are usually hot because I peel them right after I cook them. They're not too hot right now. And whenever I do this, if you watch, it just really simple. I just push it across and it just peels right off. And then I throw this stuff into the chicken bucket.
Oh, you don't talk.
This one's a little bit yucky down here in the bottom, so I'll have to cut that out when I slice them, but they peel so easy. I'll show you one more, this big one here. And you just push your hand across the top and it peels right off. And then the root that hangs off the bottom, I just push my thumb across that and it peels right off. Really easy to peel them after they're cooked. If you try to peel them before they're cooked, it's extremely difficult because they're so hard. Okay, after we get all the beets peeled, I just am slicing them into like quarters. So I like cut it this way, cut it this way. So I have 4 pieces here. And then I'm just putting them in this strainer so that the water and liquid can strain off of them. And that way there's not too much liquid in my, look at this one's pretty, in the food saver when it vacuums out the liquid. Maybe it'll focus for you. This one's pretty. It's got lots of pretty colors. So I'm just slicing these. The great big ones, I'm slicing them because they're so big. And we're experimenting too. I've got some yellow squash that I cut this morning. This is from our garden. I'm gonna blanch this. And then I'm gonna put it in ice water, and we're gonna try to put it in the freezer too and see how it comes out in a few weeks. Alright, after I get my beets cut up, I've got my food saver bag, and I'm going to fold the top over about, I don't know, 3 inches, so it doesn't get all messy while I'm putting my beets in there. And then I've got a little scooper. I'm just going to scoop as much as I think like my family would eat. Usually that's about 12 scoops from this spoon. So I've got my beets in here, and I'm going to fold this back over and stick it in my food saver. So I've got one over here that's already done, and it's blinking at me, telling me it's done. I'm going to stick that over here, and then all I do is lay this across here, and it's got a nice, this little green part here is to catch the liquid. So I'm going to just lay the end of the bag over the top of that in case any liquid comes out. And then I put it back down and push my button. Spread those out a little bit. So I do have to, if it doesn't seal all the way, which it hasn't been because the liquid gets stuck, I just leave it in there and push the seal button one more time to make sure it's all the way sealed. And then when I'm done with that, I end up with a bag that looks like this. All the air out of it, and it's sealed on the top, but I already labeled it. So I'm going to take all these and put them out into the freezer, and then we're going to, in a few weeks, we'll get one out and try it and see how it tastes. Alright, so that is it for our beets. We got an entire row done today, plus some squash, just a little bit of squash. I've got a lot of squash here on my counter. Several zucchini and yellow squash on the counter here. From the garden. I'm going to make lots of zucchini bread and probably use some of the squash for that too, and zucchini muffins to put in the freezer for a camping trip we have coming up, and then just for some quick snacks or breakfast. But we're going to try this other squash in the freezer and see how it turns out. So I've ended up with lots of bags, probably about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe like, I don't know, 14 or 15 bags of beets. And I'm going to get those put in the freezer, and then I'll let you know whenever I thaw them out and cook them how they turn out. But I'm excited about this food saver and being able to freeze them. The freezing beets is way easier than canning them, but canning is kind of like non-perishable. It just sits on the shelf, where if our freezer dies or the power goes out or something, we'll lose all these beets. So we're going to do half and half this year and see how they turn out. But that's all that I have for you today. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.